I want to tell you a bit of a story that I think is going to affect you and maybe change how you think about how you're allocating your time and resources. So, when I was younger, I lived out in the country. We lived out in the middle of nowhere, right? So if you know where Dryden, Ontario is, it's really in the middle of nowhere. There's not a lot that's up there. It's beyond the sort of north. And we used to, what we do, I had a big family, and what we would do is build tree forts. We would call them forts, but they're really just tree houses, various different ways to look at a tree house, whether it was kind of like a teepee lean-to kind of thing, or whether it was actually built into trees, right? We actually had some. My brother, he was amazing. So thank God he actually did this. He built a log cabin. I'll tell you why, thank God. And it was amazing. It was out in the woods, maybe 5 miles, 10 kilometers out in the woods. It was a full-out log cabin with everything that's out there that you can imagine. And guess what? Guess what he does for a living? He builds houses. So thank God we actually do that. And he does pretty well. But so the story is this, and my mom reminded me of this the other day, is that when I was younger, I used to so each one of my siblings would build different versions of different houses and different forts, and I really didn't, have my own. But the thing is, I wanted to help out with everybody, and what I would do is run from sibling to sibling, and every time I'd go there and I'd work for a little bit, the other sibling would get upset because I wasn't helping them out. And every time that I would do that, I would go to the other one, and then the other one would get upset. And my sisters, they tease me and call me Joe Boy, basically, as I'm older now. But that's because I like to work, right? I just fundamentally like to work, and I like to help out other people. And you might call me and think about me as a people pleaser, because I am very emotional. I have an emotional intelligence. I really think about other people a lot. And as I was doing that, I realized, hey, wait a minute, there's this really good lesson that's there. In that people cannot please everybody. And no matter how much you actually try, somebody is going to be upset with your life, and how much you're well-intentioned and you think that you are doing the best thing, somebody out there is going to be upset. And no matter what you are thinking that you're doing, that, hey, this is wonderful, I'm actually doing the right thing, everybody should be pleased with what I'm doing, not everybody is going to be pleased with what you're doing. And I was also thinking about the reactions when I said, I'm trying to learn another language at this moment. I'm doing the Duolingo thing. I'm trying to learn Italian. I just spent some time in Italy. And I thought, hey, wouldn't this be cool? I've never learned another language in my life. I mean, I learned French because I was Canadian, but not really, right? I can't speak it. I know a couple of French words, but I can't speak it, I can't interact. And I was like, what, wouldn't this be cool if I actually did this? And it's weird in terms of the response that I get, that, why are you doing that? That is not rational, right? That has no purpose in life. And that's such a small group of people that is actually going to matter with, right? Italy, Italians is a tiny group. It's not even my nationality. And it's true. But I'm doing it because I wanted to do it. And that's it. There is no other reason for that. And the funny thing is, it doesn't affect anybody else. But it affects me. But it doesn't affect everybody else. But I was really curious with the response that I got with that. And instead of attaboy, go get it, that's cool, that's exciting, that's interesting, I got, what are you doing? And the lesson with this is that no matter what you do, no matter how much you want to try and please others, no matter what your intentions are, no matter even if it's good, just good. What's the harm with learning another language? Yes, I'm probably taking away from, I don't know, maybe it's watching television and learning what the new thing is on Netflix, which I don't know at this moment. I'm taking away from that stuff, but it's unusual. It's not normal. It's kind of weird. And then the only response is that people might be thinking, well, you're better than everybody else because you're doing this thing. But I don't think that's actually it. I think people just can't comprehend doing something that is different. And it's kind of out of their choice set because we're programmed. I don't even know it's programmed, but our society is so focused on outcomes and doing things that are just for success, because that's who we are as human beings. We're very rational human beings. We do things that are for the betterment of ourselves, and that's it. And so anything that just doesn't quite fit that mold, no matter how little it is, people are going to be upset. And so what is the lesson to take from all of this? So the lesson is you can't affect, you can't control, you can't do anything with people's reactions. What you can do is control how you are processing those things and just walk on by and think about how you could smile. Yes, it bothers me. That's why I talk about it, right? You're my therapy world. But the only thing that I can possibly do is to just keep on going and know that I'm doing the thing that's right for me at this moment. I don't know if it's actually right in the long run, and it might be a complete disaster and waste my time and I spend all this money, but I'm doing it because it feels like the right thing to do at this moment. And yes, I might actually quit. And yes, there's going to be moments where not everybody is going to be happy with me, but that's okay. What is the harm with actually doing that? So I want to come back to this idea that no matter how hard you actually try to help out other people, there are moments where people are not going to be happy with you. And that's where I was thinking about any number of situations in this world where that happens. And I think the only thing that you can do in that circumstance is to reflect on, is this helping out the greater good, including yourself? And the answer is often, I don't know, right? But, does it actually feel good in this moment? Is this something that is adding value in your life? You look at all these kind of things, and if the answer is yes, this seems interesting, do it. I think we take all of this rationality and trying to help out other people and all this stuff so seriously that we forget that there's just some fundamental joys in this world. Wouldn't it be cool, and I've pondered this, wouldn't it be cool, and this happened to me recently, where you're at a hotel and somebody is speaking Italian. There's a little kid speaking Italian, and you can respond to them and say, hey, how you doing? And that was really fun to be able to do that. And there's nothing that comes out of that other than somebody just looks at you and is like, wait a minute. But, ultimately, it's just the small joys in life that I think actually matter. And if you compound and add all those things up, I think that's a life worth living. Don't you think?